Ladies and gentlemen, this is Davion Bussey here at Catropolis, Secaucus, New Jersey, and I'm here with
Larry Henkin.
And tell us about your story about being an actor, comedian.
Oh man, that'll take like hours, if not days, but I'll try to shorten it down. I got into show business because I come from a bad family. My father, I just didn't get along with my father. So I went to after college. I did go to college. That was my last rite of being in a family. So after college, my best friend in college was Carl Gottlieb, who wrote Jaws eventually. We didn't know that then. But he said, let's go to Greenwich Village because I didn't want to go into business. I got a degree in industrial design. I was going to go to Detroit to design cars for a lot of money. But I turned it down and I just went to Greenwich Village with my friend Carl. And we hung out. He got a job writing immediately. And I just bust bars from 2 a.m. after last call till 6 a.m. And I used to feed myself by stealing. It was a bar and grill. So while I was cleaning from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., I'd take rashers of bacon and stick them behind my back. and then I started doing stand-up because my evenings from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock until 2 a.m. were free. So I would go around to the coffee houses and I would watch. And it was only stand-up comedians and folk singers. That was it. It was the 60s. And so I said, hey man, I was a funny guy in high school. So I started doing stand-up. And from there, and I worked on it, and then in about 6 months, I guess I was funny because I was opening for Woody Allen. And so that was pretty cool. And then from there, I went to, I opened for Woody, and we had the same manager, which was great. And then he started sending me out on my own to open for other acts.
Wow.
The Kingston Trio, Miles Davis. And that was a lot of fun. But then I started getting into critical thinking humor. Lenny Bruce, Richie Pryor, George Carlin. And I started to get booed and people were throwing things at me and starting fights, and I was pulled off the stage by cops. And I said, this is not a business for a nice Jewish kid like me. So I got out, joined Second City in Chicago, which was improv. That made me an actor. And then 5 of us split from there to San Francisco. And from there, people would hire me. They would fly up to see the show and say, hey, the tall, funny guy. Laverne and Shirley. Laverne, that actress. She saw me and hired me to do a Laverne and Shirley show. That was my first show.
Okay.
And from there, I became an actor, and that's how I'm talking to you right now.
Another question. How was it like to work on an iconic cult classic movie, Home Alone?
Okay, well, now, see, there's a mistake right there. You don't know you're in a classic movie because when you're making it, it ain't classic yet. It's just another job. That's all it is. So every classic movie or TV show that I was in, I think I'm 3 or 4, we didn't know it was going to be a big hit. You just go in, you do your job, and you go home. Okay. And then like a year and a half later, when it comes out and it's a big box office smash, everybody says, wow, man, how did you know that it was going to be we didn't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. You hope. Every time you go out, you hope. But I've done over 200 movies and TVs, and I've hoped every time.
Can I just say something?
Sure, go ahead.
I mean, you had to have some idea, right? Because Macaulay Culkin, he just did The Good Son, and that was like pretty good. It was with Elijah Wood. They were like pretty.
Yes, but there's a lot of movies that I've been in with big stars and never went anywhere. Yeah. So you start thinking, well, not everyone, even though it's, a great director or a great star or a great studio
Yeah.
or a great script. That's the first thing. You know, it has to be a great script, because I've written scripts that have been rejected because they weren't great scripts. You know, come on. So you don't really know. You don't really know. I mean, even the people who want a great script and they get a great script, they don't know it's a great script. They just like it. That's all. I like this. Okay, so it's a great script.
What makes
So
a
that's
great
all.
script, do you think?
Well, great script. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a great script is. But you think this could be a great script.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what Hollywood is. A could be. A could be. And a hope. And a, you know,
Finger crossed.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay. What was the most, not nerve-wracking, most
never
memorable
mind.
moment while working on set, and what film?
Well, I know there are moments, and they're all pretty much the same for me. And that's when you go up on your lines and you're working with a star and he gets angry. That's like, oh, so that's amazing. I think it happened three times where you go up on your lines. It was with Bryan Cranston. So it was Breaking Bad. And in the scene with the magnet, where I sold him the magnet, I went up on my lines 3 times, and the first time, you know, he didn't bother. Second time, he just kind of looked at me. But the third time, going up on my lines means I forgot my lines. That's what it means. And the third time I forgot my line, he said, "Hey, Larry," and you know, with that tone.
Yeah.
He wasn't acting anymore. This was Bryan Cranston. This was a guy telling me, shape up or ship out.
Oh, wow.
You know, so you get like, I stopped. I said, "Excuse me." I just walked out of the scene because I was shaking. Yeah, I wasn't shaking, but I was shaking. I went over to the director and I said, "Hey, Bryan Cranston just got mad at me for going up on my lines. What should I do? I don't know what to do." And he said, "Well, the first thing is, Larry, all actors go up on their lines. And the second thing is, Larry, the hell with Cranston. We're losing a light. Get back in there." So now, okay, I'm fighting to him. So, Bryan, we're doing this, whether you like it or not. You know, that was what was in my head. But the biggest shock to me, as far as being frightened or, you know, nervous, was when I first started, before I was a real actor, when I was still in improv up in San Francisco. I hadn't been in any movies or anything. And some movie company down south, big like Columbia or whatever, Warner Brothers, were coming up and doing some scenes in San Francisco, you know, because it's a beautiful city. And they wanted some of the actors in the improv company to just be in the movie, just here and there.
Right.
Nothing big, no big deal. Some of us didn't have any lines. I didn't have any lines. They just wanted us in the movie, just as a taste of San Francisco. So I was a bagger in a supermarket for. I was thinking Yours, Mine, and Ours was the name of the movie, the original with Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda. So it was their family, you know, Yours, Mine, and Ours, his family, kids, and her kids. They married, so all these kids got together. And now they were shopping. So they had a huge shopping cart. And I had to bag their stuff. That's all. Very simple. I didn't have any lines. And the camera wasn't on me much. I mean, just, you know, like this. Okay. And I did my scene, and it was fine. And now I just wanted to watch.
Right.
That was all. So I was standing on the side, watching Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda act. Anybody would do that.
Right.
No, so I watched. And then their scene, you know, the shopping cart scene ended. And then Lucille Ball, she's a diva, not a star. She's a diva, man.
Oh, really?
Woo! Yeah. So as soon as the director yelled cut, she just stepped about 3 or 4 steps off camera. That's all. You know, she's acting here, cut, boom, 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 and she stood 3 steps away. And then she was surrounded by 3 women or 4 women. One worked on her hair, one worked on her makeup, one fixed her costume, one did her lipstick, you know, her eyes, and they were working on her, and she just stood like this, you know. And so I was watching this, going, "Holy cow, man! That would be awful if somebody did that to me."
Yeah.
You know, but she just, you know,
Used to it.
and so and then she just lifted up a little, and she looked at me, and she said, and she didn't have a good look on her face. So I came over, and she said, "Young man, what is your name?" And I told her, and she said, "If you block my light in the scene again, you will not be working on here anymore. You understand that?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Thank you." And then she went back, and then they, and that was it, you know. And then I just got dressed and went home, and that was it. But that just little speech from Lucille Ball, man, had me shaking for days. Wow. You know, because it was Lucy. I mean, I had watched, you know, I Love Lucy, you know.
Same.
This is my idol. And she was hollering at me. Well, she wasn't hollering, but she was, you know, miffed at me for blocking her light. I didn't even know there were lights. I mean, I was so nervous doing the scene. So, you know, but I mean, she taught me a little lesson about when you're working with stars, just, you know, defer to them. It just, they're not people anymore. Right. they're stars. They're money. They're money. You just be careful.
Should have got that.
And one last thing, that QR code. What's that for?
I wrote a book. It's called That Guy, because nobody knows my name, but they all know my face. So when I'm walking down the street, they all come up and go, "You're that guy. Oh, he's that guy. Hey, he's that guy." You know, now that guy and I've done 100 different characters, so that guy, I don't know which one you're talking about. But so I figured, well, that's a good name for my book. And it's a memoir about everything in show business. Some of the stories I just told you are in there, some aren't.
Okay.
But that's it. And so this QR goes to Amazon.com.
Let me make sure I get that.
Back makes me slide.
Right. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Right,
But that's my book. And I wrote another one called, I can't even remember the name. It's so new, but it's out. This goes to 2 books.
Right.
That guy and the other one.
Oh, wow. And you said
On Amazon.
a car, right?
You can have that.
How long did
thank
it take you to write it?
Excuse me?
How long did it take to write?
A year. Oh, but just a quick note on that. It took me a year only because it's not written really. What it was I have a friend who records things. He's a podcaster. And I have all these stories like I just told you, but I have a million of them about my time in show business. And what I did was I called him. He lives in New Jersey and I live on the West Coast. And I called him and I said, "Could you record me telling you all my show business stories? We'll meet once a week for an hour on Saturday on phone." And I have an iPhone and they have good sound on iPhone.
Right.
And he has a good recording studio. So I would just tell him the stories of show business for an hour every Saturday, for 10 Saturdays. And then there's an app which will print out tape. So he would print it out and send me the prints of, the typed out prints of the stories that I told him. So I had about, 300-400 pages of typed stories that I had told him, and I just edited it, and that was the book. I edited it down to about 300 pages on a book, of a book. But all I did was really tweak and edit. I didn't write. I told, and he recorded it and typed it out, had it typed out on an app.
Wow.
That's it.
This is Davion. We got a lot of knowledge spitting out from Larry. Larry is phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Davion Bussey signing off.
Rock on.
Tales from the Field set.